All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is Saturday, October 18th, 2025. This one is entitled Shutdown, Longest Ever, ? And it is seemingly going to be the longest ever. There's some implications on that, especially if you're getting things for food, as in subsidies, but we'll get into that, amongst other things. A lot of talk about Venezuela, a lot of talk about Hamas, Israel fighting, and everything else. There's never a shortage of crises. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Possibly you have seen what has been going on in the precious metals market. Folks, I've been doing the metals thing for quite some time, and I got to tell you, it saved my butt with what has gone on with our cars. I didn't like having to give them up, but because I had purchased my metals at a lower price when they were priced lower many, many years ago, they stayed with inflation and made it so my fix on my vehicle was the same as it would have been 12 years ago. So, links in the description. If you're possibly thinking about doing it, turning your IRA, turning your 401k into gold and silver, they basically hold on to it as a repository type thing. And when you're ready to cash out, you get all the metals sent to you, and they do it safely. They've done this for many people. They're a trusted company. They're Better Business Bureau endorsed. So they're not a fly by the seat of the pants, kind of thing. They're a real deal. All right, let's get started on your crisis report for October 18th, 2025. Here we go. U.S. shutdown could, for mass layoffs of, that's weird. Sorry, it's affecting the U.S. Shutdown is affecting layoffs of nuclear arms workers, according to top Republicans. Sorry, that top one was not worded correctly by whoever I got it from. U.S. sinks vote to approve international accord on decarbonizing ships. So they're going to do some kind of green thing, and we got out of it, thank God. U.S. military staged a helicopter rescue to pick up survivors from Thursday's strike in the Caribbean, and it's holding them on a Navy ship. John Bolton has pled guilty to charges accusing him of storing and sharing classified information. Ukraine loan from Russian assets should fund European weapons, according to EU proposal. Rubio's called for a delay in the UN ship emission vote. He called it a huge win for Trump. Elon Musk says X recommendation system is evolving. He explains, no more old rules or heuristics, is what algorithms do. Right now, the system uses fixed rules to decide which post to show. In 4 to 6 weeks, they plan to remove those rules and let AI, Grok, handle it. He will analyze everything. Grok will read every post and watch every video, 100 million plus daily, to learn what content is interesting and then match it with the right audience. Small accounts will get more visibility. Today, new users or small accounts often post something great, but nobody sees it. With Grok's AI-driven matching, even small accounts will have a better chance of being shown in the content if the content is engaging. Users can control their feeds, and you'll be able to ask Grok to adjust your feed either temporarily or permanently so you can see more of what you want. So just more algorithm stuff. I'm sure it'll be, sound great on paper, but not. Honestly, the best posting system in the world is Telegram. And why? They don't have an algorithm. You sign up and it just goes straight and you read through it. You don't have anything pushed to you. And that's why Telegram is growing larger than and faster than all the other apps. So, but we all know how that goes. Pakistan strikes hit terrorist hideouts inside Afghanistan. Trump says he hopes the war will end without Ukraine needing the Tomahawks. United States Treasury Chief Bessent says trade war with China has de-escalated. Trump says that Venezuela's Maduro doesn't want to F around with the United States. Russia proposed that Elon Musk and the Boring Company build a Putin-Trump tunnel connecting Alaska and Russia through the Bering Strait, according to CNBC. I would love to see that. Trump administration asks Supreme Court to allow deployment of National Guard in Chicago area, according to AP. Trump White House joined Blue Sky with a message in a video, "Daddy's home." After President Donald Trump announced meeting with Putin in Budapest, HuffPost asked the White House who picked Budapest. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt responded, "Your mom did." White House Communications Director Stephen Chung, after a minute added, said, "Your mom." I don't know what that's all about, but I guess they've been super trolly now. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says she has received multiple death threats and expects immediate arrests, adding that one of the suspects is a activist of the Trantifa style. President Trump announces he has signed a commutation granting George Santos immediate release from prison for his fraud-related convictions. California reports the first U.S. cases of potentially more severe Mpox strain, but there's no known travel history to the people. Venezuela has deployed thousands of troops near the Colombian border. Polish court rules that suspected Nord Stream bomber Volodymyr Zelensky, it's not Zelensky, it's Volodymyr Z, will not be extradited to Germany. I mean, what are the odds? Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says the case is closed, so I guess they're just going to roll on from that. Nothing to see here. Kong Ji Chen is sentenced to 24 weeks in prison in the United Kingdom for using a fake phone tower hidden in a suitcase that spammed commuters on the London Underground. I don't know what that is, how he did it, but evidently he had a little mini cell phone tower. He's rolling around, and anybody within earshot or, the distance got his text messages. So you can start to look for that wonderful type of things happening now. Portuguese Parliament is going to ban the burqa in public spaces. Now, I know everybody's like, oh, that's a win, but maybe it's something to push facial recognition. China begins mass production of photon detector for quantum radars, aiming to track advanced U.S. stealth jets. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and UAE warned Trump that his post-war Gaza plan is at risk of collapse because Hamas doesn't want to disarm Israel, Hayam stated. Gulf countries have conveyed to the White House that they will not participate and fund the Gaza reconstruction process as long as Hamas retains control and fails to disarm. Israel wants a split power between the Democrats and the Republicans, according to the Jerusalem Post. Jerusalem Post complains that Trump is being president with a Republican sweep of both the House and the Senate is not Israel's preferred scenario. They add, Israel is more comfortable with a divided U.S. government, kind that allows an Israeli leader to balance between Congress and the White House, as Netanyahu did during the Obama years. When Barack Obama pursued policies he opposed, Netanyahu could go around him, appealing directly to Congress, as he famously did in 2015 address to Congress against the Iran deal. Residents in Gaza report that dozens of local influencers and activists have gone missing after being called by Hamas for interrogation in the days following the ceasefire. According to several journalists, those detained are held inside Nasser and Al-Aqsa hospitals, which Hamas is using as makeshift detention and interrogation sites. Families say that they have received no information about their whereabouts or condition, but I thought they were just hospitals. I thought it was so terrible when people would, go in there and try and find the people that were doing the combating when they're in hospital. They're just innocent people in those hospitals. That's what they told us. I guess they've been taken over by Hamas. Almost a dozen major news outlets, conservative and liberal, including the Atlantic, Associated Press, Axios, CNN, Guardian, Newsmax, New York Times, NPR, Reuters, Washington Post, and Washington Times, have announced their refusal to agree to a new set of rules and restrictions placed on journalists covering the Pentagon under Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, which reporters will be required to sign their agreement or to by Tuesday or risk losing their press passes to the Pentagon, at the Pentagon. Pentagon Press Association represents all reporters in an umbrella of Pentagon Press Corps, called the restrictions threat to the First Amendment, stating that the restrictions intend to gag Pentagon employees and threatens retaliation against reporters who seek out information that has not been pre-approved for release. While media outlets have stated that this pledge is part of a broader effort since January by the Trump administration to limit information being provided to the public about goings-on with both Pentagon and the U.S. Armed Forces. So far, only one outlet, One American News, has stated their intention to sign the pledge, and the groups that have are One American News, Federalist, Epoch Times, Turkish newspaper Aksam, Turkish state-run Anadolu Agency, 2 freelancers from Turkey, 1 reporter with The Australian, 1 freelancer from Afghanistan, AWPS News, the Indian Globe, and the USA Journal Korea. Pakistan Foreign Ministry said there are still safe havens for terrorists inside Afghanistan. Afghanistan government must not allow terrorist groups to operate from Afghan territory against their other countries. Despite forcing all French government officials to stop using non-Western messengers and developing French homegrown analog mandated for all government-related internal correspondence, Emmanuel Macron himself has failed to transition and keeps using Telegram as his main messaging app. Nation's president is said to be an early Telegram user who joined the platform in the mid-2010s and remains very addicted to it. Excuse me. Donald Trump confirms Reuters report U.S. Navy sank a Tren de Aragua cartel submarine in the Caribbean. That was a drug-carrying submarine built specifically for the transportation of massive amounts of drugs. Trump said, just so you understand, this is not an innocent group of people. Deal offered by Maduro's regime to Trump administration via the Maduro-Grenell negotiations was U.S. would gain access to Venezuelan natural gas deposits. U.S. would gain access to Venezuelan gold deposits. They would gain access to iron deposits. They would gain access to bauxite deposits. They would gain access to coltan deposits. Venezuela would cut financial and commercial ties with China. Venezuela would reverse all oil exports from China to the United States. Venezuela would end all contracts with Russia, China, and Iranian firms in regards of energy and mining sectors. In exchange, USA would stop all support for Venezuelan oppositions. USA would let Maduro rule Venezuela as he pleases. USA would stop the military and diplomatic pressure against the Chavista regime. Great British News reporters say that British local elections may be canceled for a second year running as terrified councils admit we will get reform. It's a threat to our democracy. It's a threat to our democracy. Council elections may be canceled for more than 5 million Britons amid panic that Reform UK victories may grind Labour's overhaul of local government to a halt. Threat to our democracy. Government is weighing up private requests from 7 conservative county council leaders to postpone next May's elections. Labor is planning to scrap the 2-tier system of local government, which sees county and district councils in operation. In their place, the government is hoping to introduce a number of larger councils led by elected mayors who will have a host of devolved decision-making powers. 7 local elections in conservative majority county councils were postponed until 2026 in preparation for the new system of local governance to be put into place. However, Norfolk, Suffolk, Hampshire, Surrey, Essex, East, and West Sussex County Council leaders are now lobbying hard for the government to push back the elections once more to 2027, according to the Times. It's right to a democracy. Right-wing populist Reform UK on track for the biggest majority in the House of Commons in modern history. Reform will have 445 MPs. Labour would have 73. Liberal Democrats have 42. SNP have 41. YPT 10. CON 7, that's conservative. That's like a Green Party. Green Party 6. Plaid Cymru, whatever that is, 5. The poll of 7,449 British adults took place from September 10th to 18th before the party conference season. Biggest issue for voters in the cost is the cost of living and the economy, 59%. Immigration, 47%. Well, who could have thought that? U.S. Congressman Carlos Jimenez claims that Vladimir Putin's spokespeople are threatening to target Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence with missiles from Cuba. FBI Director Kash Patel says Bureau is still investigating the hit of Charlie Kirk, looking into whether additional suspects or accomplices were involved. U.S. government is now on track to shut down for more than 40 days, the longest shutdown in history. It means the current shutdown is expected to last 5 times longer than average. U.S. farmers still waiting on trade war aid as USDA blames the shutdown. U.S.-China trade war continues to squeeze American farmers. Many say they are running out of time and money while waiting for relief promised by the Trump administration. Quote, time is of the essence, said Virginia soybean farmer John Boyd, who warns that without immediate financial support, farmers may not survive. While the grass is growing, the cows are starving. Trump has pledged to direct billions in tariff revenue to help offset farmer losses, but months later, those funds remain frozen. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins blamed the government shutdown for the delay. With the shutdown, that aid has been frozen, Rollins said on Thursday. Meanwhile, Trump has authorized $20 billion in economic support for Argentina. Move comes as China shifts its soybean purchases to Argentina in midst of the U.S. of its boycott of U.S. products. Afghanistan and Pakistan will hold peace talks in Doha on Saturday following recent clashes. There is a strong belief that the removal of Prince Andrew's, although voluntarily rather than through Parliament, honors is because the royal household is trying to get ahead of some new revelations that may come to light soon. Hat tip to Great British Prepper for that intel, sir. Thank you. Since the Dutch government seized the Chinese-owned company, Beijing now refuses to export billions of chips. 6 billion Nexperia semiconductor chips are packaged in China every month. Automotive industry in Europe now is in big trouble. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says they have lost the biggest markets. We're 100% out of China, from 95% market share to 0%. Whatever policy did that made America lose one of the biggest markets. Total U.S. public debt has hit a record $37.9 trillion. This marks a $400 billion jump this month alone, or $25 billion per day. At the current pace, total debt would hit a record $40 trillion by as soon as 2026. U.S. debt crisis has reached an unprecedented level. Friends, that is your crisis report for October 18th, 2025. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We hope you will check out the other links and our sponsors and partnerships in the description. Find us online at other places. Of course, you can become a member here. It is extremely helpful and keeps Borg off our back. Shout out to Modern Refugee, who put a shout out on his channel about this report. Have a wonderful day. God bless.